Hey there, El. Today I'm diving into the chilling world of Brazil's most notorious serial killers. Buckle up because we're about to explore their areas of operation, mental disorders, places of birth and death, and their sentences. Let's start with Pedro Rodrigues Filho, also known as Pedrinho Matador. Born in 1954 in Santa Rita do Sapucaí, Filho's killing spree began at the tender age of 14. He claimed to have murdered over 100 people, most of whom were criminals. Diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, Filho was sentenced to 128 years in prison, but was released after 34 years. However, he was rearrested in 2011 for participating in riots. Next up, Francisco de Assis Pereira, also known as O Maniaco do Parque. Born in Sao Paulo in 1967, Pereira lured women into the woods, promising them jobs as models. Diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, he was convicted of 11 murders and sentenced to 268 years in prison. Moving on, we have José Vicente Matias, better known as Corumba. Born in Goiás, this man was active in the 1990s and was responsible for the deaths of at least 13 women. Diagnosed with schizophrenia, Corumba was sentenced to 74 years in prison. Then there's Laerte Patrocinio Orpinelli, also known as the Black Serial Killer. Born in 1959 in Sao Paulo, Orpinelli targeted elderly women, robbing and strangling them. He was diagnosed with psychopathy and sentenced to 100 years in prison. Let's not forget Edson Isidoro Guimarães, the nurse who turned into an angel of death. Born in 1957 in Rio de Janeiro, Guimarães ended the lives of at least 4 patients to free up hospital beds. Diagnosed with Munchausen syndrome by proxy, he was sentenced to 76 years in prison. Another infamous name is Francisco Costa Rocha, also known as Chico Picadinho. Born in 1942 in Sao Paulo, Rocha killed 2 women and dismembered their bodies. Diagnosed with psychopathy, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison, but is still incarcerated due to his dangerous nature. Then there's Tiago Henrique Gomes da Rocha, born in 1988 in Goiás. Rocha, a former security guard, confessed to 39 murders. Diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, he received multiple life sentences. Pedro Rosa da Conceição, also known as Pedrão, was born in 1949 in Bahia. This former police officer was convicted of killing at least 7 people. Diagnosed with psychopathy, he was sentenced to 126 years in prison. Moving to Marcelo Costa de Andrade, known as the Vampire of Niterói. Born in 1967 in Rio de Janeiro, Andrade killed 14 young boys. Diagnosed with necrophilia and psychopathy, he was committed to a psychiatric hospital indefinitely. Finally, Vitor Hugo Delgado, born in 1959 in Sao Paulo, murdered at least 6 people. Diagnosed with schizophrenia, he was sentenced to 80 years in prison. All right, folks, that's a wrap on Brazil's most notorious serial killers. These chilling tales not only give us insight into the dark corners of the human mind, but also highlight the importance of understanding mental disorders. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing content. Catch you in the next one.